All right, let's see.
Rishi Sunak, the wealthiest member of parliament, is totally unfit to be prime minister. He is someone who has benefited from an elite education, going to a private school, Oxford, having a career in banking before pursuing a career in politics. So as prime minister, whose interests do you think he'll be serving? Rishi Sunak and his family belong to a very exclusive club who think the rules don't apply to them, including tax rules, benefiting from a non-dom status that you can't use. Taxation rules are something you don't have a choice about. Don't expect someone who has benefited from millions of pounds in tax being dodged to crack down on tax avoidance. Rishi Sunak's campaign video featured his parents migrating to the UK and telling a
Are you stoked that the Conservative Party allowed a man of color as their leader? This feels very off-brand. I mean, no, I don't give a shit. Like, he's still a Tory. Who gives a fuck if it's an Indian man, a man of Indian descent that is the one that is going to... Oh, you said shocked, not stoked? Okay, sorry. Am I shocked? No, not at all. I think that conservatives have been doing liberal style identity politics for a very long time. I mean, they're fully leaning into it. You know what I mean? No reason to undermine the truly oppressive hierarchies and just doing like light pandering. The problem, however, is that the Tory voters on the ground will most likely not appreciate Rishi Sunak because he's brown. So there's that. Like, all of the things that they would normally not pay attention to, they will use as an opportunity to shield away their true reason for hating him. He is a brown man, right? That's what'll end up happening. And I called this with Liz Truss as well, and I called this with Bojo as well. Like I said, these kinds of like aesthetic pandering, the kinds of like aesthetic moves like this are only appealing to a small group of people, and those people are like the elites, not the actual fucking voters. You're not going to be able to get the Tory party to be on board with a brown man leading the helm, unless he's like overtly, like aggressively EDL style racist. You know what I mean? Lib Dems will probably appreciate him. You know what I mean? Like, liberals will like it. So that's what it is. But other than that, like, the fucking, xenophobic, racist Tory voters are not going to appreciate this, as they have already talked about. You know what I mean? They've already been sounding off a little bit. But yeah, let's take a look.
British success story.
Family is everything to me, and my family gave me opportunities they could only dream of. But it was Britain, our country, that gave them and millions like them the chance of a better future.
But as a member of the government, he's actively pushed through policy that stopped people from being able to come to the UK and rebuild their lives. From the Rwanda policy that will deport refugees thousands of miles away to defending the hostile environment. Rishi Sunak is a complete utter fraud. This again shows the limitations of representation politics. Having black and brown people at the top.
Yep. Exactly. Hey, Themasius, thank you for the playlist. I had not seen it.
Does not mean that the lives of black and brown people in the UK and across the world will be better. In fact, they have gotten worse. The Tories are the party of the 1%, and they will always do the bidding of the 1%.
We inherited a bunch of formulas from the Labour Party that shoved all the funding into deprived urban areas. Then that needed to be undone. I started the work of undoing that.
Like, can you imagine running on that, dude? We need to stop funding areas that are deprived of economic opportunity and start moving money back into areas that deserve it. The already wealthy areas. Just straight up just openly trying to cause a separate rift between like what you would perceive to be upper middle class or middle class people and working class people that are in a worse economic situation overall. But here's the thing, and I do believe that Bojo didn't want to take the leadership position, partially because we don't know if he had 100 votes within the party membership that he needed to even be able to get up there, considering the no confidence vote, even though they claimed he did. But I think Bojo also probably didn't want to take the helm because the upcoming, I know he said he had 100 votes. And some people are saying he didn't. Is that confirmed? Well, regardless, I think assuming the role right now of leadership in the UK is a horrible bargain. Regardless, even if he had 100 votes, is a horrible bargain regardless. Because you got a cold winter coming up. The war in Ukraine is heating up while people in the UK are very cold. The Queen death distraction ran the media cycle for a while, but now you got to get back to business. You know, you got to get back to business. People don't have food at their tables. Inflation is a problem. And there's a looming energy crisis in the UK. Being the guy who has to take control over that and fix that situation, not a great look.
Things are bleak and there often feels like there is no hope. But like the Liverpool anthem goes, at the end of a storm, there's a golden sky. Across the country, we're seeing workers organise across so many sectors, whether it's the RMT to barristers, cleaners, teachers and nurses. What this is showing us is that another way is possible when workers stand up, fight back and hold this government to account. Whoever wins the Tory leadership race, we know that our media will not hold them to account. That's why it's so important to support independent media like Double Down News, so give them some money if you can to their Patreon.
I mean, he's just like, he's just a fucking cardboard cutout banker guy, you know? These guys are always going to have the exact same, they're going to have the exact same disdain for the working class. They're going to have the exact same attitude towards neoliberal austerity measures. None of that is going to be different. What's going to be different if you get someone like Bojo in is the aesthetics and what the media pays attention to. If you're not going to be like overtly racist, okay, if you're not going to fucking throw that racism, smoke grenade on the ground or like a racism flashbang to draw attention to that rather than anything else, people are going to be not only reminded of their dire economic situation, which they always are aware of regardless, okay? But the media will reinforce the policies failing. European gas supplies are looking too full. It's actually been a warmer than normal, and European gas prices are falling like crazy.